Hi guys, this is gsnom.com and I'm here with a review of the Xiaomi Redmi Note 9 Pro. Finally, there are very few reviews of this handset online, so we thought we'd make one for you. So, the Redmi Note 8 Pro was arguably one of the best mid-range phones in 2019. This one succeeded and increases the battery size, the screen size, and also adds some extras in the camera department. In some countries, this phone is a mere $250. Let's see if there are other changes aside from the ones that meet the eye. Okay, so first things first, we actually are lucky to have the most beautiful color version of the phone. This is supposed to be the tropical green version. There's also glacier white and interstellar gray. It's made of glass. The back side is glass here in a two-tone approach. The front side obviously glass, and it's a flat glass, not curved, which may distract some people. The curves, I mean. Now the frame in between them, it's plastic, it's not metal, but still the phone is reasonably well built. It's a massive device, you probably have noticed that, and by massive I mean that it's very long and pretty wide, so maybe not the easiest to use with a single hand. Gorilla Glass 5 at the front, Gorilla Glass 5 at the back, so protection is ensured. It's rather beefy, 8.8 millimeters, which by the way the same thickness as the predecessor, and 209 grams, which are pretty well distributed, so you don't feel it very heavy in your hand, but it is a long and wide phone. The bezels are quite narrow, I have to say, for this price tag. We only have a chin. Other than that, pretty well calibrated design. The camera at the back protrudes a bit, as you can see here, not in an exaggerated fashion, but it may draw some lint around it. And it can get a bit slippery, but luckily we have a case which helps. The case is bundled in the box. Okay, so screen-wise, the things have changed. When I say the things have changed, we're dealing with a larger diagonal now. It's increased to 6.67 inches. It's an IPS LCD panel with a resolution of 2400 over 1080 pixels. So, aside from that, I think it's time to show you the viewing experience here. Using our typical test video, filling the screen. As you can see, the camera is cutting the screen. The punch hole is pretty big, but you get accustomed to it pretty fast, but you can also hide it from the settings if you don't enjoy it. Now, the colors are okay, they're okay calibrated, but not as wide as an AMOLED for sure. The wide view angles are here, but they're only decent. Once again, they don't compare to an AMOLED. The contrast is rather modest in sunlight. I'll say that for the sun in the month of June, where we're at, and the brightness is, I would say, pretty good considering the price tag. Okay, so keep in mind the contrast is modest and the view angles not as wide as we're gotten used to, and the pixel arrangement is of the RGB stripes variety. And we also did a brightness test. We have here our hierarchy, and we achieved 448 lux units. This is an okay result. Anything past 400 is a victory for that phone. It goes past the Redmi Note 8 Pro before it. That one had 434 lux. We're beating the Huawei P40 Lite and the Asus Zenfone 6, so not bad. Still, we're staying below the Galaxy A50 from Samsung, below the Galaxy A51, and the Xiaomi Mi A3. There are also extra settings for the screen. You can play with stuff like brightness, of course, color calibration and all that. There's a dark mode, obviously. And here you have a reading mode. This is the color scheme, color temperature, colors auto, saturated, and standard. Okay, so that's that screen-wise. It's okay for the price tag, and we're heading towards other interesting areas. And I'm talking, first of all, about the CPU. There has been a CPU change. The one from the Redmi Note 8 Pro was crazy good. That Helio G90T was a beast in gaming, still is, even today. This time we're getting a Snapdragon 720G Qualcomm, of course, 8nm octa-core, accompanied by 6 gigs of RAM and also 64 or 128 gigs of storage, as well as microSD. Now the good news is that we don't have any trace of lag here, and games should run pretty fine on this handset, including Call of Duty Mobile. Obviously, we also did a bunch of benchmarks, so it's time for those. And I should also mention that there's no overheating here, so good news again. Now, in Antutu 8, as you can see, we even beat the recently tested Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Lite, the Mi Note 10 and the Galaxy A71. So basically, we're easily beating Snapdragon 730G and 730 phones, that's for sure. We're staying below the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 Pro as expected. There are 20k points difference here. That Helio CPU is a bit of a beast. We're also below the Huawei P40 Lite with its own powerful Kirin CPU. Now when it comes to Geekbench 5, here we are, Geekbench 5 multi-core. I'm impressed by the fact that we beat the Oppo Reno 3 Pro 5G, which is a Snapdragon 765G CPU handset. We beat it by 1 point, but still we beat it. No small feat. Also, we beat the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Lite. Pretty impressive, actually. And also the Galaxy A71 was beaten yet again. Huawei Nova 5T and Motorola Edge are some of the phones that beat us, but they're quite well spec'd in the CPU department. In the GPU one, the score is actually not bad, beating the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Lite yet again, Galaxy A71 and the A80. At the same time, we're staying below the Huawei P40 Lite and the Motorola Edge. And when all is said and done, once again, there's no overheating here, and we have the tests to prove it. So in benchmarks, we achieve 39 degrees Celsius. It's a bit hot, but doesn't go past the limit. And in games, just 35.5 degrees Celsius. So definitely no overheating this time around. Okay, so I mentioned before that the battery has been beefed up. By beefed up, I mean that it has reached a capacity of 5020 mAh. The predecessor had the 4500, so that's quite a bump. And also we have charging at 30 watts, so things keep sounding better and better. Obviously, we tested the battery. We have the video playback test, you know it. We set a video to loop with Wi-Fi on and a certain level of brightness, and voila! 16 hours, 14 minutes above Galaxy A50, the OnePlus 7 Pro, Oppo Find X2 and Huawei P40 Lite. We have several other models here, Galaxy A80 and several other rivals. So we beat them all with a pretty good result. At the same time, we stayed below the Xiaomi Mi A3 and also below the Galaxy A71, A70 and the Mi Note 10, plus the Motorola Edge, just in case you were wondering. But that one is much pricier, so the comparison isn't exactly fair. Continuous usage, once again a good result, 14 hours and 32 minutes. Just narrowly beating the Xiaomi Mi A3 by 1 minute. Okay, so it's actually on the 16th spot, so it's in a pretty select company. It's beating the Asus ROG Phone 2, Huawei P40 Pro, Galaxy A70 and A71, but it's being beaten by the Xiaomi Mi Note 10, the Mi 9T and Mi Note 10 Lite. Still, Xiaomi beaten by Xiaomi, it's still a victory for this company. The charging at 100% is done in 1 hour and 16 minutes. It's pretty okay. After 30 minutes, you're at 58%. After 1 hour, you're at 91%. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with the battery here. Actually, it's excellent for this price tag. Let's talk about the acoustics now. Okay, so first things first, at the bottom side, you can find here the audio jack, and we also have the speaker on the right side. There's also a microphone here. We also have FM radio on this device, believe it or not, and the second believe it or not is the fact that you can actually record stuff from said radio, FM radio right here. We don't have bundled headphones, but we do have a music player with several tweaks, which will apply if you're plugging in headphones. Stuff like equalizer, sound enhancer, and settings for each and every type of headphone. And now let's turn up the volume, listen to some music. Okay, so the volume is pretty high. You will not cover the speaker in landscape for sure. The notes are well calibrated. You can actually hear a variety of notes. The bass is modest. I would say it's in the so-so category. So all in all, we remain with the loudness as the main attribute of the singular speaker. Okay, so as usual, we do some volume tests. First of all, we test an acoustic sample, and as you can see, the results are very satisfying. Third place. 94.6 decibels, pretty impressive. We're beating all the other phones we tested, aside from the BlackBerry Passport and the Lee Echo Lee Max 3. Whatever happened to the Lee Echo company? Anyways, we go further. Here we're placed second when we're only counting the backside volume. Okay, let's go back here and see how we did in the other acoustic test. This is the multimedia test that involves games, 100.1 decibels, also pretty satisfying, and this time we managed to beat phones like the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 Pro, the predecessor of the phone, and the OnePlus 8. At the same time, we stayed below the Xiaomi Mi A3 and the Nokia 7.2 and the Huawei Nova 5T, to name just a few. All in all, happy with the singular speaker at the bottom. It's loud. That's something you should actually remember. I would even call it very loud. On the camera front, there's a 16 megapixel shooter here, and its main attribute is the fact that it takes slow motion selfie videos, 120 frames per second. I've heard that before on several other phones. So 16 megapixel here and a quad camera combo here, LED flash, 4K video capture, 960 frames per second slow-mo. Now the main camera is a 64 megapixel shooter, and this one combines 4-in-1 pixels, have f1.89 aperture and face detection autofocus. There's an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera, 5 megapixel macro camera and 2 megapixel bokeh camera, with the macro one taking close-ups at about 2 centimeters to focus up. Okay, that's about it. We have AI features, we have bokeh, we have a night mode, and several other cool modes out there which you see on most phones nowadays. I'm going to go straight to the gallery, and as usual we have a large amount of photos to show you. We have 299 shots, so basically one more would have been 300. Let me start off with the macro to get this off my chest. So yes, you're going to take some pretty good macros. Let's actually turn on the rotate. Here we go. Okay, so you're going to take some pretty solid macros, but they take several attempts and they're not always very clear, even though we're dealing with a 5 megapixel camera, not a 2 megapixel one. Galaxy A51 and A71 are better at macros, and that's visible. Okay, now we're going back to the beginning of the gallery, so you can get things straightforward. So a regular shot and ultra-wide shot. Now the ultra-wide shot deforms the colors a little bit. It's a bit whiter than the regular shot. And we also tested the zoom, which is not very impressive. We're lacking a telephoto camera. For digital zoom it's okay, but I actually feel that the Huawei P30 Lite and P40 Lite had better zoom. The colors were pretty decent, coming off the extra vivid Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Lite colors. These are actually a breath of fresh air. I mean the main camera colors. The ultra-wide one, once again, a bit whiter than usual, and a bit of deformation here and there. Several more shots, pretty good reds, nice clarity of the stream of water here. The level of detail is satisfying. I actually feel we have better details than the predecessor. And here I started playing with the bokeh. So we're focusing and blurring the background behind Donald and also several other cute characters with a pretty efficient way of cutting around them. So that one checks out. These are shots, the next ones, taken in the shade, and I'm actually happy with the dynamic range here and the colors and the clarity, so not many objections, but a bit darker than I would have liked. Of course, we also have selfies, but half of them were with the beauty mode on, and I actually hate them. They clear up all the blemishes or the pores and the defects, and you look like a doll, not like a human. But in the end, we found the option to deactivate beauty and we started looking like a human again. I'll say this, the focus is better than I've seen recently, better than the Motorola Edge and better than the Oppo Reno 3 Pro 5G, which had problems with the focus on your face in selfies. Nice texture of the eyes, of the hair, of the skin all around. Don't forget to deactivate beauty if you really want to see the proper human texture of your face. Several more shots here of toys in the park with nice colors. They're vivid, but not as vivid as, well, I've seen recently or 2 or 3 other phones. Human looking selfies again. We go further here. I feel that there is a bump by about 15%, maybe 20% compared to the predecessor. Here are some more attempts at macros. I'm not saying they're bad, but Galaxy A51 and A71 are better. And several more shots. Okay, so that's about it. I feel the upgrade from a few other phones, and now it's time to talk about the low light capture. We also have that. Expectations were low for a phone with this price tag, and you're definitely not, I repeat, not going to use the ultra wide camera. Things are blurry, messy, noisy, and all the lights are amplified. Somehow the zoom looks better at night, don't ask me how. Things here reminded me of the Xiaomi Mi A3, which was actually solid during the nighttime, and this is also solid during the nighttime. That's the verdict. We're catching quite a bit of light. If you really go in depth, not here but on the PC, you'll see there's quite a bit of noise, so nobody denies that. So if you stay away from the ultra wide shot, you should be fine. And this is the difference, regular shot and nighttime shot. I mean night mode, of course. And we also have one with flowers. There should be a regular one and one with the night mode, which is working, I would say, decently. Maybe something like the first night mode that appeared on OnePlus. That's just one example. The color of the vegetation is actually a pleasant surprise during the nighttime. So I would say, let's maybe say on par with the Xiaomi Mi A3, which was a bit of a champion last year, and definitely a bump from Motorola Edge even. Keep that in mind. A bump from Motorola Edge and the predecessor. Okay, let's talk video now, and to keep things simple, I actually like the Mi Video app. It has a pretty nifty interface here, and let's see how the video capture did. So first of all, this is the first video. This is shot in Full HD, 60 frames per second, so we're gaining in motion, but we're losing in exposure. It's very overexposed. This screen doesn't do it justice. I expected a bit more here. And the sky, well, didn't look like that in real life. Okay, let's see other videos. This time, things are a bit shakier, but the colors are quite nice, except for the fact that the greens and the reds are too vivid, too blown up. The focus is okay. The zoom is, well, things get shaky pretty fast. And let's try other videos. This one is shot while walking. For a phone that doesn't have optical image stabilization, I would say that the digital one is decent. If you look closely at the objects, you'll see the trepidation and vibration, so the stabilization is not perfect. But once again, for the price and for the lack of OIS, we're doing fine. And if I should suggest you go look at the review of the predecessor, this is much better than the stabilization of the predecessor. Selfie videos, that's also a thing. So if you hold the phone with two hands, you should pull off something like a decent vlog. The background behind me is too white. The sky is actually definitely white. Things get a bit shakier as we walk, but you can pull off an amateur video in the end, I feel. An amateur vlog. This is the focus test. I'm happy with the results. As you can see, fast focus change, actually better than expected. And this green is totally unrealistic and the colors are way too vivid, not as good as those in the photos. So I'm calling it a 30% bump from the Redmi Note 8 Pro in video quality. And now let's check out some of the low light filming. Okay, so here we are. Obviously the stabilization is lacking, but the light sources aren't half bad. They're not as amplified as I would expect. I've seen worse, to be honest, in this price range. I've seen worse on phones priced at double the amount. The focus is pretty decent, but the stabilization is definitely not as good as during the daytime. And one more. However, the colors seem pretty well calibrated at night, something I also noticed in the photo department. So I would say is passable and decent, the low light capture video for a phone of this price tag. Definitely better than the predecessor once again. We're done with the camera. Let's talk about connectivity. So first of all, we have an USB-C port at the bottom with a microphone next to it and an audio jack. At the top side, microphone here. This is an infrared emitter used to control your TV set-top box, rice cooker, air conditioner, etc. Now this phone comes with a dual SIM setup. It has two SIM card slots, two nano SIMs separate from the micro SD, which is always good news. There's Bluetooth 5.0, there's NFC, Wi-Fi dual band, Wi-Fi direct, Wi-Fi display, GPS, AGPS, GLONASS and Beidou, and the calls were pretty loud and clear. We also did a speed test to see what the fuss is all about and how the connectivity is handled here. And let's see how we did. Okay, so the results are here, and when it comes to 4G, we got as high as 172 Mbps in download and 63.9 Mbps in upload. On Wi-Fi, we achieved 347 Mbps downloads and pretty low, 24.4 megapixel upload. Anyways, the download values are quite high, I would say even flagship worthy. And I guess we're done with the connectivity and we're going to talk about the software. If you've seen our recent review of the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Lite, you know exactly what to expect. It's basically the same experience. This is Android 10 with MIUI 11 on top. To the left side, we have the Google home screen. If you press here, we got your multitasking with split screen also supported. We have these two columns here, and there's a cleaner, there's split screen, security scan, deep clean, and so forth. Pinch the screen like this, and you're treated to minimalistic, white, and transparent widgets. Swipe down from the top, and you get your notification and quick settings. Once again, very white, very clean, very clear, with blue toggles, and we find options here like reading mode, screen recorder, Mi Share, dark mode, and you name it. Aside from that, there's security here. The fingerprint scanner is embedded into the receded power button, so I saved my thumb, and if I press it with another finger, it will not unlock the phone. If you do something like this, instant unlock, as you can see. Let's try again with this one. So the security side is taken care of. Okay, so this is the experience pretty much. I feel that we usually have a look in the settings. Usual stuff here: connectivity, lock screen, display, sound, passwords and security, extra settings, stuff like button shortcuts, notification light, quick ball, one hand mode, clear speaker. This one actually blows the dirt out of the speaker by playing a special type of audio. Anyways, digital well-being is here. Special features are also here, stuff like game turbo, quick replies, and second space, all check out. Among the pre-installed apps, we got your security with a ton of features: trash cleaner, Facebook cleaner, game speed booster, second space, and so much more. Teams, music, file manager, another cleaner, and note-taking application is also available here if you want to take notes and also integrate voice notes. Okay, so I guess this is about it. This is the part of the review where we end it, and we also start talking about the pros and cons. On the pro side, take a look at this beautiful back of the phone. It's got a two-tone approach, so that's nice. On the pro side, beautiful design, an excellent battery, I would say, and aside from that, big screen, so nice for video watching, okay performance above the Galaxy A71, very loud speaker, good selfies and bokeh for selfies, fast focus, not bad colors in daytime pictures, fast connectivity, infrared emitter, and fast fingerprint scanner. Those are the pros. Now on the cons side, I would say that this phone is quite big. It has been increased in size from the predecessor. It's got poor contrast for the screen. I mean, it's a bit underwhelming, the contrast. If you sit in the sunlight, you'll understand what I mean. The speaker at the bottom is lacking bass. The beauty shots actually do not help the selfies one bit. The zoom is very modest, and ultra-wide camera is useless at night. The macro is good, but didn't impress me as much as the Galaxy A51 or A71. If you film in full HD at 60 frames per second, you may wake up with some overexposure, and the colors are too vivid when filming in general. Okay, and stabilization was just decent, not as good during the night. So that's about it. So you're going to buy the phone for design, definitely the battery, the CPU, even though it's not as good as the crazy good one MediaTek Helio from last year. The camera isn't half bad, and the speaker actually broke some loudness records. The fact that this phone is able to fight handsets which cost $100, even $200 more is a testimony to what Redmi keeps achieving, delivering quality features at lower prices. Is there a drawback for not buying this phone? Maybe the fact that it's so big. But even that isn't a deal breaker, because people may want to binge on TV shows on this large diagonal and large battery. So basically, there's no deal breaker here, except for the fact that you may want, I don't know, a telephoto camera or better zoom. That's the only deal breaker I can see. But for this price, you're getting your full money's worth. So this has been the review of the Xiaomi Redmi Note 9 Pro. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, whatever. And we'll be back with more phones pretty soon. Isn't this beautiful? Okay, so that's about it from gsno.com. Bye bye.